Joe. Yeah. All right, we're starting the recording. Hi, Teresa's already muted herself. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to mute myself. And now, Ian, they're all yours.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you all for attending our presentation on a Turkish delight. I have had the pleasure of partnering with Mike and the Carroll County Chamber for, my goodness, it seems like forever now, Mike. We've been all over the world, Egypt, Italy, Spain, Austria, and Croatia. And now we're going to be heading out to Turkey. These programs are what I call international awareness programs. These are programs where you travel as a group with like-minded individuals having a wonderful time, wonderful adventures with spectacular camaraderie. This is what we've done with Mike and the Carroll County Travelers in the past, and 2025, excuse me, will be no different. Turkey is a wondrous destination. The food is the best cuisine out there. You may never have said a Turkish cuisine. You might not know what it is. I guarantee when you come home, you'll go, wow, what a great menus that were there. The restaurants, different types of food is wondrous, wondrous, wondrous. So yes, as I mentioned, this year we're heading out to Turkey. This program is what we call, for those people who haven't traveled with the Chamber and Quest before, is we try whenever humanly possible to do the least amounts of packs and unpacks. So we try to, if possible, have one hotel stay destinations. In Turkey, we'd be doing you an injustice if we just went to one location. So in this particular program, we've got two locations. We have Istanbul, formerly known as Constantinople, and we're going to Kuşadası on the Aegean coast after that. So really, we've got two packs and two unpacks. But what this style of program brings to you is the ability to unpack that suitcase, take the crease out of the clothes, and use each location as a touring base. One day go east, south, north, or west and experience different cultures, different heritages, and different sights and sounds, but coming back to the same hotel on a nightly basis. Yes, no constant packing and unpacking. We pride ourselves on this style of relaxed travel. You don't need to have a vacation to come when you get off of the trip with us to rest up after the trip itself. So yes, they're wonderful experiences that we have. We're going to be heading out in spring, April the 7th through to the 15th on the main program. Perfect time to be heading into this region. Now, in a moment, with the aid of slides, we're going to look at the trip from the comfort of your armchair, from your sofa, from the chamber conference room if you're there. We're going to go through the program briefly. Even though we have about 110, 115 slides, we could still be discussing this program tomorrow if we went into depth. I know the program exceptionally well. I had the pleasure of living here for 2 years in the early mid-90s. And that's why I know all about that food. It is spectacular. I know about its people and how friendly and warm and inviting they are. They pride themselves on their hospitality. So, yes, we're going to head out in a moment. If I could ask a favor of you, if you could hold your questions to the end, or if you're online, you can always use the chat button to type away any questions when it comes to you. And I promise before we leave tonight, I'll answer everybody's questions either verbally or on the chat section itself. So without further ado, let's get rid of our whirling dervish in Cappadocia and let's start this presentation off. What this program is going to bring is history spanning centuries upon centuries. We're going to go through, yes, we're going to go through such cultures as the Hittites, Byzantines, Ottomans, and then the modern day Republic of Turkey. We'll even hear stories of Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, who was a personal friend to and an ally to some of the sultans there. So there's a whole host of history and culture all mixed together to make such a wonderful destination. We're going to learn also about the evil eye. And here we've got the evil eye. If my slides move, the evil eye is a talisman to ward off envious people. So if you have a lovely brand new car that people would like to own, you put an evil eye in there, and that will stop them saying, I wish I had that car, and bring bad luck on that car to give it away. So yes, we'll learn about cultural events such as that. We're going to find some of the best food anywhere, from Turkish-made baklava sweets, meats, vegetarian dishes, and such things. The last time I was there, I had a mixed meat inside an onion baked in the oven. Oh my goodness, it was to die for. We have a warm and inviting, friendly people that are pushing, and the nation is pushing to be part of the European Union. So they're on the best behavior right now. But they pride themselves on their warmth and openness towards visitors. The first day is a flight overnight from Dulles into Turkey, and welcome to Turkey. We'll be arriving into Istanbul, the only city in the world built on two continents. This photograph is taken from Europe. We're looking across the Bosphorus Bridge, and that land over there is Asia. So it's a completely different continent. So it's really unusual, and it is a really special destination. And this is our plan. We'll fly into Istanbul. We'll be staying 4 nights in Istanbul. From there, we'll fly down to Izmir, the home of NATO HQ, and then we'll come down through Syringe and into the House of the Virgin Mary on the tour, and arrive into Kuşadası for 3 nights. Then either fly home, or if you would like, you can continue on to Cappadocia, which is in central Turkey itself. As soon as we arrive in Istanbul, you'll be met by our tour director and coach driver, and you'll be on our modern air-conditioned motor coach just for your transfer. The transfer from the airport is about an hour and 15 minutes. The airport in Istanbul is wondrous. It is one of the biggest airports in the world. And there is more in that airport than I've seen in any other airport anywhere around. The first night, a night to relax. Maybe head out and have a Turkish bath to relax after your flight. Turkish baths are cultural events. They're historically, I would recommend in Taksim, there's some wonderful Turkish baths. They tend to be a great cultural experience, but you can't be bashful because there's quite a bit of nudity in there too. But if you don't want to do a Turkish bath, our hotel is in the Taksim area. And here we are in the main hub of the New European section. New European section is still centuries upon centuries old. And we can see İstiklal Caddesi with the train that runs down the center of the pedestrian precinct. This is a place that does not sleep. The last time I was in Istanbul, I could shop in this street 3-4 o'clock in the morning. The shops are still open. So it's a wondrous place. And yes, it really is. It's competing against Las Vegas for the city that never sleeps. After a relaxing night's sleep, day 3 will be upon us. And after breakfast, we will be touring the old city. The old city is the foundation of Constantinople. We've all heard of Constantinople, and you'll be learning about the change between Constantinople and Istanbul. This is what Constantinople and the Hippodrome looked like. Our tour will start in the Hippodrome, and which we're looking at here, the arena. It's almost one of those oval arenas from the chariot races from Ben-Hur, you may recall in the movies. And here we are now, actually in today's state, from the European section into over the water into the new European section. To the right, to the left-hand side is the Golden Horn and Galata Bridge. But we're looking at that green area with the fountain. This is where the Hippodrome was. And you will still see walls left over from the Hippodrome. In store today is going to be the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, the Hippodrome, the Egyptian obelisk, and the German fountain. There is so much history and collaboration in this area. This was given to the Ottoman Empire by Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany as a gesture of friendship. We'll then see the Egyptian obelisk. For those people who've been to Egypt, this obelisk originally was in Karnak, in Luxor. And again, it really shows as a testament to the rich cultural connections of the Ottoman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, and present-day Turkey. After that, we'll be going to the Blue Mosque. The Blue Mosque is one of the largest mosques in the world, and there's only 2 mosques in the entire world with 6 minarets. Here, the Blue Mosque, or as known as the Sultan Ahmet Mosque, and Mecca. We'll be going into the mosque itself, and it's famous for its handmade blue Iznik tiles, which you can see. There's over 20,000 of them in the mosque itself. And each one of those lines that you can see coming down the ceiling, there is a chandelier. No electricity is allowed in here, with candlestick lighting underneath. Spectacular piece of engineering. After that, we're going to come back into the Hippodrome and go to Saint Sophia, or Hagia Sophia. It was built as a Byzantine cathedral, and for centuries upon centuries was the biggest single dome in the world. And it still is a humongous structure. And it brings forth historical significance of the Byzantine era. It's been backwards and forwards between Christianity and Islam throughout the centuries, and you will find parts of the paintings inside, the mosaics inside, showing both Christianity and Islam. As we go through the main gates of the Saint Sophia, you'll go over this stone plinth. Notice that either side there's little divots that's been worn into the stone. That is from the centuries. The guards that would guard this area for centuries upon centuries, eventually they wore little divots into the stone step there. We'll go inside and you will be in awe of all the marbles, the ornate handmade mosaics, the exotic stones, the paintings of Christianity and Islam throughout the building itself. And it never continues to amaze me every time we go inside. We'll continue on to learn about the Ottoman and the Sultans. We're going to Topkapi Palace. This was the last residence of the Ottoman Sultans. There is everything in here. It was a contained city. The sultans would be there, and this is where their family would live. There's harems, there's the treasury, there's the army and armory and barracks. Everything is in there. There's schools and everything for all the concubines and the children and such things as that. And we'll be seeing this spectacular architecture, but also the views all the way around. We'll go into the harem and learn about the hierarchy of the harem go into the staterooms, which we're looking at here, which are absolutely opulent. We'll see the treasury, and we're now looking at the famous Topkapi dagger. You might have seen the movie about this. Those are real emeralds, and those are real diamonds in the hilt, and it is a priceless artifact. Now, those are diamonds, but this is truly a diamond. This is the Topkapi diamond, or the Spoonmaker diamond. It has a very interesting history, and almost a cursed history too. It's 86 carats in size, and it is almost brilliant in its coloring, and it is a unique diamond. You'll see that too. We'll have that evening, we'll have a dinner at a local restaurant to get to know your travelers and such. Now, the next day, we've got another included tour. We're going to through the Galata district of Istanbul to the Golden Horn, which we're looking at, the Golden Horn right here, and the Galata Bridge. The Galata Bridge has been there for centuries upon centuries, and it takes you from the old European section to the new European section, from Topkapi into the areas where our hotels are. And it's been a crossing point since the 19th century. We're looking at Galata Tower also, but across the Golden Horn, across to the Hippodrome and Topkapi Palace, you can see right there. From Galata Bridge, which you can see on the right-hand side, there at about 2, 3 o'clock, it's a great place to watch the boats, the ferries go by. There's always 1,001 fishermen fishing in the Golden Horn, and it is a great place to just sit and watch the world go by as we continue on after that, and we arrive at Basilica Cistern. The Basilica Cistern, first of all, if you're a James Bond fan, you might have seen the Basilica Cistern on a James Bond movie when he was chasing a villain through this area while classical music was being played. But this was built in the 6th century by a Byzantine emperor, Justinian the First. And it was one of 7 cisterns that kept the city in water. The water was taken from the Black Sea, which is 200-300 miles away, by a series of aqueducts along the way from lakes and rivers in that area. So it's a wonderful piece of engineering. We'll go down there, and we're just 1 story underground here. After that, we are going to the Grand Bazaar, and take a look at that. It is a humongous structure. It dates back to 1455, to the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople. And it is the oldest and largest covered market in the world. Everything is here, from beautiful, highly decorative Turkish lamps. I've got a couple of these outside in my garden, which work beautifully in the evening. The blues and the silvers and the golds are just spectacular. You can find clothing, you can find silver. All the streets are divided up into whatever it sells. So we've got the Lamp Street, you've got Silver Street, you've got Gold Street, you've got Diamond Street. Yes, if you wish to, you can buy all sorts of spectacular diamond rings and such things as that at a fraction of the cost. Please beware, though, talk to your tour director about a reputable place if you're looking for that, to do that. But it's a wonderful, wonderful place. We always have this as the last component of the day's tour, just in case anybody wants to stop here and shop, shall we say, until you drop. And then you can take a taxi home or an Uber home, back to the hotel. Now, a big part of who we are is to bring you to a location, to have somebody look after you. First of all, good regular scheduled airlines, first-class hotel, somebody to look after you, meals on the trips, included tours. But a big part of our philosophy is to give you at least 1 free day on a program. Or if you're one of those people who like to keep going and going, to offer an optional tour. So day 5 is actually a free day. You have your own private concierge on here, your tour director, who can tell you how to get from point A to point B if you wish. But yes, you might want to wander through the Taksim area, walk down İstiklal Caddesi, doing some lovely shopping, to the Galata Tower. You can actually go up the Galata Tower if you wish. It's not the easiest. There are quite a few steps to get there, but you might wish to shop for Merstham pipes, hubbly bubbly pipes, as we call them, or you call them hookah pipes. Sip strong, sweet Turkish tea with Turkish delights, as you can see here. Maybe, as I mentioned, go to the top of the Galata Tower in the evening, look at the spectacular views, watch the sun go down, and maybe experience a culturally rich Turkish event at the Galata Tower, because they have belly dancing shows there. These are typical Anatolian traditions from central Turkey of belly dancing, with vibrantly colored costumes, with rhythmic hip movements that are traditionally Turkish. Or if you'd like to, head out with an optional tour with only you in mind. On this particular day, the optional tour, and this is the first option, the rest of the tours are included, is the Spice Market, or the Spice Bazaar, or the Egyptian Bazaar, Utakoy fishing village, and a cruise along the Bosphorus Strait. The Bosphorus is the channel that separates Europe from Asia. We're looking at the entrance of the Egyptian market. The Egyptian market is famous for its food items, its spices from the Far East, its Turkish delights, which we're looking at here. Turkish delights is a gelatine confectionery with nuts in it, with scents such as rose petal, pistachio, and such. It's also famous for its spices, as per the name, where you can buy your saffron, you can buy typical Turkish teas and coffees, and just infiltrate into the Turkish way of life, because it is a living, working shopping area for Turks as well as tourists alike. After that, we'll go into the Golden Horn itself, where we'll jump on a boat, and we're going to be cruising along the Bosphorus, looking at Istanbul, Asian and European side from the water itself. We'll see the spectacular wooden galleys left over from Ottoman times. You'll also see boats and liners going all the way through the canal. We'll go past Dolmabahce Palace, dating back to 1856, which was the last. It was built by one of the sultans as a summer palace. It nearly bankrupted the state, but it was the last resident of Ataturk, the founder of the Turkish current republic. We'll go underneath the Bosphorus Bridge, around Rumeli Fortress, which was built in Ottoman times, and a chain was dragged across the Bosphorus Strait here, where a toll would need to be paid for a boat to go through. Arriving into Ortaköy. Ortaköy was a fishing village. It's a lovely little fishing village now, full of shops, restaurants, great place to have a cup of coffee, take it nice and easy, and have lunch. This is an unusual lunch. It's if you wish to have it here, it's not included today, but baked potatoes is for some reason the meal in Ortaköy. You'll find huge baked potatoes with butter and fresh cream, and you can have whatever filling you want inside them, whatever you want. And it is a tremendous dish. And only the Turks could think of a takeaway for this. And you'll find these throughout Istanbul too. Before we know it, we'll have spent 4 nights in Istanbul, and from here we'll be jumping on a short flight of about 1 hour and 20 minutes and heading down to the coastline and to Izmir. And this is a a transfer day, but it's also a touring day. We'll be on our modern air-conditioned motor coach. Our guide will come along with us and continue. And our first stop will be to Cyninge. Cyninge is part of the Greek community, still evident in this area. It's known for its charm, its beautiful houses, its cobblestone streets, and its wine production. A Greek-style wine that's produced in this area. Let's face it, Greece is not that far away. If we were to fly from Izmir to Greece, you'd be there in 45 minutes. So we're not far away at all. We'll be wandering through its narrow streets, arriving to a restaurant where we'll be having typical Turkish cuisine for lunch here. Along the way, before we get to Kuşadası, we're going to be arriving into this place, a very spiritual and pilgrimage site, the House of the Virgin Mary. This is supposedly and believed to be the last and the final resting place of the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus. And we'll be touring this pilgrimage site. We'll be going around its gardens, the main shrine, and into the main shrine inside. In the afternoon, we'll be arriving through into Kuşadası. Kuşadası is a vibrant resort town on the Aegean itself. You'll find cruise ships coming in here. You'll find every style of shop and restaurant here, and great hotels and such. It's also close to Ephesus, and that's why we're coming in here, to experience the beauty of the Aegean, but to be close to Ephesus whilst here. Relax, take it easy. If you'd like, sip a rakia, which is very similar to ouzo or pernod, and it's a great summer drink, which is purely Turkish. Rest up. Next morning after breakfast, we're going to be heading to Ephesus, one of the best preserved Roman cities outside Italy, if not the best preserved Roman city anywhere. And it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. Here we're heading down the marble walkway. In Ephesus, it dates back to the 10th century BC. And we'll be seeing, yes, the Celsus Library, which we just saw. We'll be heading down the Roman, the marbled walkway. And we'll also be viewing the Temple of Hadrian, which we're looking at here, which is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Continuing on, we'll head into the main amphitheater, which is still used today for concerts, and it's still acoustically intact. Whilst there, we're going to have what we call one of our cultural discovery series. Our cultural discovery is designed to bring you into a little bit about the destination, to meet the people, to learn a little bit about the industry or something specific about the destination. And this one is going to be Turkish rugs. Each rug that you're looking at there is from a different region. You can, if you become an expert, you'll know where the region is by the design and the colors of the rugs. The emphasis is not on shopping, it's on education, but we'll learn how rugs are made there before continuing on back to Kuşadası. Rest up, take it easy. Maybe go for a swim in the Aegean if you'd like. Day 8 is the last optional day tour on the program. So there's 2 optional day tours. So whilst you're here in Kuşadası, you might just wish to take it easy, relax, head to the castle in Kuşadası, do a spot of shopping, or again, head with your fellow Carroll County travelers on an optional tour. And here we're going to Pamukkale. Pamukkale, translated from Turkish into English, means cotton castles. The next slide, you'll see why they are cotton castles. This is calcium-rich water that over centuries have created naturally these white, brilliant white faucets that cascade down the hillside itself. It's a thermal reserve. And we'll also be viewing Hierapolis. But here you can see the cotton castles more in depth. And it is a spectacular natural wonder. After viewing Pamukkale will be continuing on to Hierapolis, founded in the 2nd century BC as a spa town because of all the therapeutic and thermal waters in the area. And yes, those Romans did rest their aching bones in the therapeutic spas. They would be entertained in the amphitheater, into the theater which we're looking at right here, which again is still used today for some concerts and some plays. We'll also see Cleopatra's Pool, a thermal spring, which was reportedly given to Cleopatra by Mark Antony as a gift of rejuvenation. So those who went to Egypt, as I mentioned before the presentation started, you're going back a little bit in time and you're learning a little bit more about the history of both countries and the mixture of Turkey and Egypt. Before we know it, this is our last evening on the main program. We'll have a farewell dinner, and then before we know it, day 9 will be upon us, and you'll either go home back to the US or continue on the extension to Cappadocia. But we'll be leaving and we'll be flying from Izmir, but again through Istanbul back to the US with spectacular, cherished memories of a wonderful destination full of history and traditions and culture, and a warm and inviting, friendly people, where the majority of people do speak English. But again, I'm always biased by this. Some excellent, excellent food throughout the country itself. Your included features, just so that you know the true value that we bring forth on this program. You got round-trip air transportation and internal Turkish flights. The US starts at Washington Dulles Airport. You've got 7 nights in first-class, centrally located hotel, 4 in Istanbul, 3 in Kushadasi. You got 7 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 4 dinners on the program. We've got all your touring except for 2 days. You got Istanbul City Tour, Constantinople. You got the Hippodrome, Blue Mosque, Topkapi, Hagia Sophia, and Basilica Sistine. You've got Galata Bridge and the Grand Bazaar. You've got the House of Virgin Mary and Syringe. You've also got a tour to Ephesus. We've got our Cultural Discovery Series. We didn't mention it because there's only so much we can talk about in a presentation, but in Istanbul, we're going to a craft institute where we'll see apprentices working on stone, jewelry, carpets, other items that are typically Turkish. And we've also got the carpet factory and design center. We've got professional tour director on the program, baggage handling throughout the program. All this for $36.49 per person. Now I'm hopeful you can see the true value we bring forth on this program. Single occupancy, add $7.99 to that. And for $7.99, you get to watch whatever you want to on the TV in the evening. You have the right to. If you're looking for single, please do not wait. Don't take time. Single is very limited availability. We still have some left, but we already have people signed up, and we already have at least 1 single signed up because they know how quickly they go. The fuel, the price includes fuel taxes and land taxes and such. Now, this is a price that, as long as you reserve by the end of the day on October the 7th, 2024, that's the price you pay. After that, if there is any space left, which possibly not, because these trips do sell out quickly, it goes up by $100. But don't wait until October to reserve this trip. If you know you want to go, sign up sooner than later. Approximately 75% of all our travelers say, I'm already there. I would like to see something a little bit more and spend a little bit longer. So we've got an extension for 3 nights into Cappadocia, which is central Turkey. So when you're waving goodbye to those people who unwisely decided to go home, you're heading to Istanbul for a connection flight into Cappadocia. Cappadocia is famous for its ancient cave dwellings, its early Christian settlements and churches, and its rich history of Hittites and the Byzantine Empire continued. Included on that is intra-Turkey flights, 3 nights in a first-class hotel. We've got daily breakfast with 6 meals, daily breakfast, 1 lunch, and 2 dinners. We've got all your touring included. We've got your tour director that's going to continue on with you. Deluxe first-class hotel motor coaches, baggage handling. All this for $849 per person, double occupancy. Add $299 to that for single occupancy. Cappadocia and to Avanos. We're heading into, this is our first port of call. And it's part of our cultural discovery series again. This is a small town in the Cappadocia region, known for its red clay and its ceramics and pottery making. We'll be going to a local family-run business where we'll be learning about the clays, the turning of the pottery, the hand painting of various vases, bowls, and plates. So these are works of art before arriving into the hotel and resting up. The next day, day 10, will find us in Üsküdar, Pigeon Valley, and into Gourmet, the Gourmet Valley. And we'll start in Üsküdar, which we're looking at right there in the center of the shot, the famous rock castle. Now we're in the heart of there was almost a mining of the rocks, and people would live inside the rocks. There was protection from invaders. And in most cases, the homes were hidden. Over the years, the walls of the rocks have sheared, so it opens up from the front, the homes themselves. This would have been a sheer rock face, and you wouldn't have seen a lot of these buildings in the past. But here we've got another shot of it right here, of the main castle there, rock castle. This is where the aristocracy would live, and you would have spectacular views of any invading soldiers coming from miles and miles around. After here, we'll head to Pigeon Valley, again, because of its spectacular formations. Now, Pigeon Valley is named because of its pigeons. In early Byzantine and Hittite days, in the caves, there would be they would breed pigeons, and the drop-ins were used for the cultivation for fertilizers for the vineyards of the area. But here we're now in the Pigeon Valley, again known for its windswept formations, its rock outcrops, and its churches and homes. And we'll be going into 1 or 2 of them. And here we are in one as an example. You can see one of the rock churches, which is known in the area itself, that's been carved out of the mountainside itself. Back to the hotel in the evening. You might wish to, if you're interested, take a whirling dervish dinner show, or just a show that evening, as dinner's included. But whirling dervishes is a mesmerizing event. It dates back to the 13th century, and these gentlemen are followers of Rumi. And the dance is known as a Sema. This is spiritual enlightenment and for the divine and for love. And these individuals spin on their axis on a foot for hours upon hours without getting dizzy. And it is unbelievable to watch these individuals. I don't know how they do it. Day 11 will be upon us before we know it, and we're heading into Monks Valley, into Annie Valley too. Now, Monks Valley is known for its fairy tale chimneys, which we're looking at here. Again, windswept formations with different types of rock throughout. And this is where hermit monks made home, and they They had secluded churches and underground cities too. And here we can see more of those fairy tale chimneys. This, in my estimation, is one of the most important and one of the most fascinating sections, the underground cities. This is where those early Hittites, the Crustions, would hide. And some of these underground cities go 6 stories under the ground. And it's a catacomb of alleyways, houses, churches, shopping areas, homes, hospitals, and such. And we'll go into the entrance of one, down some steps, and we won't be going 6 flights down, but we'll be going into one level, and we'll be just experiencing these wonderful, wonderful carved cities. We've got a millstone. This is probably a bakery that was here. We've got also other sections of homes and such things as that. And this is how a house would have been in that particular period. Simply furnished, but it gives you an idea of what it would have been like. Before we know it, we've just spent 3 nights in Cappadocia, and day 12 will be upon us, and we'll go from Cappadocia over to Istanbul and then over to the US from there. Now, visa requirements. I'll be quick. We're nearly finished, so you can ask your questions then. Yes, you do need a passport to go on this trip. You'll need 6 months left on it from the last day of the trip itself, and 2 blank pages. Yes, a visa is required for Turkey, but it is really, really easy to fill out. We'll be sending you information on that, but it's done online. It basically is, yes, we'd like $50 from you. I don't believe there's much of a check done. You don't have to take your passport to the consulate. Everything's done online, and it's really easy, and it can be done within 10-15 minutes, and you just put your credit card in there, and it will be sent to you. They will be sent a piece of paper, and the visa is actually attached to your passport. So when you arrive into Istanbul, you'll just show your passport, and your visa's already taken care of. Really, really easy to do. Now, how do we sign up for the trip? Now, you may already have seen the brochure that we're looking at right here, or you've been on the Carroll County's website, and you've been able to click through. You can click on the brochure from the electronic version, or go onto the Chamber's website and click this button right here, and it will launch the booking engine. I'm only showing you one section of it here, and we've got a lovely picture of Kuşadası. We've got something about the trip. We've got some photographs here if you'd like to highlight Mike's contact details. If you've got any questions, as you go down, you'll get the day-to-day and such. Clicking on, you can download the brochure if you wish to from here. You can ask a question here, but today, just because of time restraints, we're just going to click on the select button, and this is what we'll pull up. This is the order section. We pride ourselves on how simple the booking engine is. We built it on the style of Amazon Prime. There's so many Amazon Prime trucks flying around these days. It must be easy to book on Amazon. So we wanted to do the same type of ease. This first section is how much and what are you looking to order. So it starts, and it always starts out as 000 on all these things. We're going to click on it again. Instead, we're going to go for one of these pull downs, and we're going to pull it down to 2, as you see right here now. This is if there are 2 people in the same room, and you're going to both pay by the same credit card. So this is how you would do it. You'll fill out 2 people. Yeah, I want to go on the Bosphorus cruise. Okay, 2 people. I want to go on the extension. Yes, 2 people. And this is always dynamic. This will tell you how much the trip is going to cost and how much is due at the time of booking. Once you're there, you press continue. But before we do press continue, I'm going to show you another thing. This is if 2 people are sharing the same room. And you click double occupancy right here. But you each want to pay by your own method of payment. This is the example I'm going to use today, just for the fact, because it makes things a little different, I'm going to say here one person in a double occupancy, one person on the Bosphorus, one person in on the Cappadocia extension in double occupancy. It's not single. If you want to be a single, you just drop it out here, one in single, and go through it. And there, you don't do anything with the double occupancy. But this is two people sharing the same room, paying by different forms, different credit cards, for example. Once you've done that, you've got two ways. You can either pay the deposit amount right here, or you can pay the full amount and click continue. And now this brings you into, and there are 3 pages here because it's a scroll down section on the website, and I can't get everything on the same slide if I don't, unless I make it super small. So it starts out with your name, last name, email address. You'll notice there are orange stars at the side of those. These are required fields. You must fill those out to reserve the trip. We then have home address, town, city, state, zip code, contact number, and date of birth. Okay. The next section after that is the name that appears on your passport. It's a starred section. Okay. Last name, first name. Okay. Do keep that in mind. Okay. And then middle name, if you have one. Notice last name and first name are required. Some passports don't have a middle name, so we don't have it required. But if you do have a middle name on your passport, drop it in there, please. Your passport number, it's not starred. Why is that? Well, you might not have 6 months left on your passport from the last day of the trip. In that case, you can still sign up by giving us your official name as it appears in your passport, because unless you got married or unless you're intentionally changing your name on your new passport, the name will stay identical. Once you get your new passport, you can come back into the booking engine, put your passport in there, and it's all done. Passport issue date, expiration date. If you'd like to, you can upload a copy of your passport here. If you've got a picture on your computer, you can upload it. Now we get into room types. Single, obviously, if you signed up as a single, tick that box. If you're 2 people sharing the room and you would like just 1 bed, tick that box. If you're 2 people, if I'm going with, for example, with a mate, I probably don't want to sleep with him, so I might want to go to double 2 beds, okay, and tick that box. Now we can see here we're into the gateway. The gateway is right here, so we get into now, your air is included out of Washington Dulles. Tick that box if that's what you want. If you've got friends, might have family from LA, for example, who want to go on this trip, they would tick this box right here and put in the notes section right here where they want to go from. Lastly, if you would like to go and you want to create your own, if you've got oodles of air miles, you can click that box and there would be $800 off the price of the trip per person to do your own air. Roommate's name, drop it in here. If you've got a roommate there, any notes. Now, after that, we get into auto billing or manual billing. So there's 2 ways to pay final payment. If you're, shall we say, technically challenged, like a little bit like me, you might want to pick auto billing. If you click auto billing at 131 days before departure, your credit card or your checking account will be already automatically deducted final payment. You don't need to think. You don't need a reminder of it. Okay, keep that in mind. If that's not something you want, then you can just click no, I prefer manual payments, and you will be reminded in both cases, auto billing and manual payment, you'll be reminded that that final payment is due in 14 days. You get another one in 7 days. If you picked auto billing, you'll get one in a reminder in 3 days to say, make sure you have funds accessible, and it's done. It'll come to you. Dietary needs, known ID number for the airlines is right here. And lastly, the terms and conditions. There's underneath this, read more. You can click that and you can read the terms and conditions and then click yes. Once you've clicked onwards, it gets into the payment section. Notice this follows you all the way through each screen, so you know how much is going to be charged. You will then put in the credit card number, expiration date, the CVG, and then the billing details right there, and press confirm. As soon as you press confirm the booking, your credit card will be charged. Okay. If you don't want to pay by credit card, you take Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. You can do by checking account. There's a lovely picture of a personal check, which shows you on your personal check where the routing number is, where the account number is. You'll put the full name of the account here. It might be hypothetically John Smith Trust account, your routing number right there, the account number, confirm the account number, and then press that, and it confirms your booking. And it will go to your bank, and they'll assess that bank, will assess the booking, and then the amount will come out of your checking account. Now, importantly, whether it's your credit card or if it's your bank, please, if you see something from either W Travel or We Travel, that is us. That's the name of our booking merchant account. Okay, so if you see that, it's not a fraudulent charge. It doesn't come from Quest Voyager. It comes from We Travel. Now, as soon as you press either credit card or check, a pop-up will appear, and it will say, thank you for reserving. It'll show you what you've reserved. It'll give you your final payment date, and there'll be a beautiful sky blue banner, almost like the color of the background of the slide, and you will be able to purchase optional travel insurance from there. If you've got strong spam blocker, you'll get an email too to your email. You're dealing with a computer, so it's immediate. So if you don't get the pop-up, it means it's been blocked somewhere on your spam protection. If you don't get an email within 20 seconds, check your spam, because the computer didn't go to the bathroom. It didn't go for a cup of coffee or for lunch. It works 24 hours a day. So it's with you. So if you've listened to one of my presentations before, you will know that I am going to say every time, I hope you all take out travel insurance. I hope you all waste your money on it. You're not going on this trip to sample what's it like to claim on travel insurance. No, you're going for fun, camaraderie, friendship, and adventure. But this is the site that will pull up once you get on the trip. Once you click on that banner after reserving, you'll just put in the state of resident, the country you're going to, departure date, return date, when you made the initial deposit, when final payment is. You've got all that. You'll put in your date of birth, trip cost, and so on and so on. Even though the date of birth doesn't matter on the price. It's the same price for anybody, no matter how old you are. And then you'll submit a quote. And then it'll go through the policy. It covers trip cancellation due to accident, sickness of you or an immediate family member. It covers trip interruption, missed air or cruise connections. It covers baggage and personal effects, baggage delays, lost luggage, for example, medical or dental on the trip, accidental death and dismemberment. Don't try any of this stuff, because they're not fun things. But again, I've seen it all too often. The time you don't take it out is the time you need it. It covers pre-existing conditions. Check the policy when you click submit for all this. It has 24-hour a day, 7-day call line, and it has cancel for any reason too. Cancel for any reason, as long as you cancel 48 hours before the trip departs. It covers cancel for any reason. Yes, it covers such things as I broke a nail, I got a bad haircut, the dog doesn't want to see me go, it's getting all melancholy on me, and such things as that. So you can cancel for any reason at all. If you happen to be a lawyer and you've been looking for the case of a lifetime, and it happens when you should be going to Turkey, you cancel. Okay, there you go. Cancel for any reason. It's different. And then you can take that cancel for any reason, and that cancel for any reason sticks to the standard policy, which is what's included in the features right there. And it becomes one policy with two styles of cancellation to it. Now, 48 hours, you've got to cancel. But importantly, you will only get 75% back the penalty amount. It's better than nothing, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Having said that, this is something that is all encompassing. We strongly recommend you do it. We're going to give you a free cancellation section too. So from the day that you book all the way up to 131 days before you go, you have a full money back guarantee of anything you pay to Quest Voyager. So the deposit, the extension, the optional day tours. No questions asked. You'll just send an email through to Mike and he'll pass it on to us and we'll initiate that cancellation and the return of monies. But insurance is a different thing. And again, we strongly recommend it. But with our 131 days money back guarantee, there's nothing to stopping you from saying, I'm going on this trip, putting an X on the calendar that we're going in April to Turkey. And yes, making sure you get on the bus. Do not wait. If you know you want to go, don't wait. As Mike will say, these trips disappear quickly. They sell out quickly. So to avoid disappointment, not if, but when the trip sells out, sign up sooner than later. And at that, I have finished my presentation. We hope you'll join us on a wonderful trip on the Turkish Delights in 2025. And we've got, while you mute yourself, we've got, it looks like, some questions here. So let me see. We've got some questions online. Let me see if I've got them. Sorry, I had to leave. Okay. What is the currency in Turkey? It is the Turkish lira. It could well be the euro by the time we go, but I don't think so. It doesn't work that quick. But it's the Turkish lira. US dollars is accepted in most places, but it's always good to have local currency with you. Credit cards are accepted virtually everywhere, except in markets and such. Hot air ballooning. Can you do hot air ballooning in Cappadocia? Yes, like any hot air ballooning anywhere in the world, dependent on weather. But yes, your tour director will be able to assist you with getting you up and away on a hot air balloon. So yes. Do you offer travel insurance on the trip? Yes. What is the current political climate for foreigners in Turkey? I was just in Turkey, in Istanbul and in Izmir this past December. As I mentioned, I've lived there. I know the Turkish. I have friends that I have had for 35 years. They are warm and inviting, friendly people. I don't believe you'll see any issues. I don't believe you'll see anything at all. Like anywhere in the world, if something happens, like any country, even probably downtown Baltimore, I live in San Diego, downtown San Diego, if something's going to happen, it'll be a pickpocketed in a crowded marketplace. As long as you take care of that, you've got nothing to worry about on this trip. Of course, have some common sense as you're wandering around. But the last time I was there, I was in Istiklal Caddesi, shopping at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've never felt threatened in Istanbul, in Turkey as a whole. Again, it's a warm and inviting destination.
Ian, we had a question here in the room. Yeah. And first off, if anybody has to leave there in the world of Zoom, thanks for being here, and would love to have you come on this trip. But the question that was asked here is, can you bring spices back? I'm assuming that you could probably bring spices and things like that back with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, the rule and regulation of it is, and again, you've got to be a little careful, but as long as it's vacuum packed, and they will vacuum pack them at reputable places, as long as it's vacuum packed, it should be okay.
I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Customs.
Oh yeah, through like the actual customs. As long as it's packed like that, you can get them through customs, right?
You should be able to get it through. You should.
The old should be able to.
Yeah, you know, I got to say you should be, because you don't want to get. Sometimes a customs official has had an argument with the wife or the husband the night before.
when we went to Cuba a couple times, you weren't allowed to bring Cuban cigars back, and of course I didn't. I would never break the law. And of course, if I wanted to, it would have been okay because they never checked my bag. Oh, hang on a minute. I ended up with 100 Cuban cigars. I don't know how that happened. I did have another question for you. When you're shopping at the like bazaar and all that, I mean, how many bags are you allowed? Isn't it like one checked bag?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, are you able to like to have stuff shipped actually shipped home if you buy things?
Yeah, I mean, again, we can't categorically vouch for every shop in the country, but there are some places that your tour director and guide would say this is a place if you want to ship there, you'll get it.
All right.
But there are other places that they may not know or you wouldn't want to. You're allowed one piece of luggage not to exceed 50 pounds. It's not a highly dressy trip, so you don't need a whole host of clothing for this trip. But again, for those people who haven't traveled with Mike and the Chamber before, we'll be having another meeting about 30 days before we go.
Correct.
To express a lot of this stuff about packing, customs, what to take, what not to take, and that type of thing. But you might want to take a 3/4 or a half full suitcase so you can bring back stuff, because there are those Turkish lamps are wonderful. Leather goods, unbelievable. Turkish delight, wonderful. There's a lot around my waistline right now. So yes.
One other question or one other comment. As you're filling out your reservation form, if you want to and you have the money, because it ain't cheap, if people want to, if they want to investigate what it would cost to fly business class, they should fill it out when they do their application, right?
Any business class conversation should be done at the time of initial
booking.
Thank you for that. So what you would do is fill out, yes, I want to travel with the group, for example, but in the notes section, I'm interested in business class air. On this routing such as this, we're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 additional for business class.
That's for round trip, right? That's for round trip air.
Yes, that's round trip on the international section.
Yeah.
And that you'll get a bed, you'll get as much as you want to drink, and you'll get enhanced food on that.
And Peggy, you get a Turkish bath on the way back, business class. Okay, I figure. I'd highly recommend don't do it. I've never done it. I did it once to Egypt, and there's a part of me that's happy that I did it, but there's another part of me that wishes I never did, because now I know what I'll be missing on all of the other trips. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes it's best, like if it's really hot out, stay outside, don't come in for the air conditioning. So
yeah,
sure, at that time of year.
yeah, Ian, what kind of weather would we be looking at around this time of year?
That's a great question. What's the weather? If I was to answer that accurately, I wouldn't be here today because I've got the lottery winnings of the Powerball every week. But if we work on shall we say, if we look at history as a guide,
that's good.
We're looking at, there are two real weather zones in the trip. There's one which is a temperate Central European city climate in Istanbul. So we'll be looking at somewhere in those 50s to 60s, maybe a 70 in the day.
Nice.
Down to the Anatolian coast of Kuşadası, 60s and 70s, maybe an 80 if we're there, because we're a hop, skip, and a jump from Greece and such and that. And then going into Cappadocia, it's very similar to what it is in Istanbul. We're in Europe, it's European weather in all aspects. So there's no rainy season. It can be anything, any day, but we're in spring. I was there in December, and yeah, you needed a sweatshirt. A couple of days you needed a jacket, but I think in April you'll be perfectly fine. Again, we'll be discussing this in our pre-departure meeting, and you'll have links to weather information in your final documentation. But who knows what the weather will actually be.
And for those who have not, I'm sorry, you have a question? here?
Yeah.
I got one over here again. Hold on.
I'm not clear on what he said
Clarify
about,
cancellation.
I have purchased the enhanced, so that cancel for any reason, but is he saying that they're honoring canceling for any reason at the lower price? I'm confused.
I think what Ian said, if Ian, help me, I'm gonna explain this because I don't always understand the insurance and stuff as well as I should, so see if I'm getting this right. The question is, cancellation. You know, cancel for any reason is insurance. That's gonna cover you up until 48 hours prior to departure on the trip, right, Ian?
That's
And you
correct.
could just be like, you know what, my horoscope didn't read right and I'm afraid of taking the trip, and you could cancel. And isn't that saying that you're gonna get like 75% of your trip price back?
Yeah, it could be anything. I might not all of a sudden not want to travel with a gentleman with a beard and a baseball hat.
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy. So the other thing is, what he said is, for anybody who books now, you've got up until 131 days prior to departure to cancel for any reason. And you don't do that through the insurance, you simply do that through Ian's group. And you'd get reimbursed everything, right, except the money you've spent on insurance.
Correct.
So-
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So did I get that right?
That's correct.
So am I hired?
Yeah.
You're hired. You're hired.
It'd be a nice part-time job.
But bluntly, very frankly, when you get into the insurance, if you have any questions, don't call Mike or don't call us. Call the insurance company. There's a number on that when that pop-up appears and that website arrives. There's a number there. If you've got any questions, call them. They've forgotten more about insurance than we will ever know, and you're going to get the right answer.
And Ian, one last thing about that too. I think, unless I'm mistaken, if you buy insurance like this, if you buy trip insurance, it also covers you for any medical reasons that you may have, like
Right.
you fall and you break a leg over there, right? You can't give them your insurance card here in the States. They're not going to honor that. You need to have the trip insurance to cover you
Yes.
for that.
Yes, it covers medical overseas. It covers lost luggage. It covers all that type of thing.
So, I mean, if you get a broken leg, you really need that, or else we're just going to kind of toss you in the water and just kind of move on with the trip. Not you, Peggy. We would never do that to you. All right. So, and I know there was some talk, and we can get more into this as we go, but buying, you can exchange money over there, and they take credit cards. I'm sure the whole thing is good. So these trips are absolutely outstanding. For anybody who's never been on one of these trips with us, you're going to absolutely love it. I said earlier, I never would have taken a trip like this before I took this job over. But now I just love them. You know, I love going where they've already got it all mapped out for you. And what's beautiful about this is, if there's a day and you're kind of tired and you don't want to go on a tour, you don't need to go on a tour. You can stay back and do whatever you want. You can rest. It's not like you're being lashed in. And only trip we had like that was Cuba, because of the arrangement they had with the US and them. Every tour you had to go on, but not here. You know, I mean, you could literally, it'd be a waste, but you could land there and say, see you later, and show up for the return flight home and have your own time there. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff built in here. And sometimes for some people, I'm like that too, even though, and I'm not the tour leader when I'm over there. I need to make that clear right off the bat. I help to coordinate it, but once we get over there, I've never been there. I don't speak the language. I know nothing about it. I go along with everybody else, and I'll take a day once in a while when there's a tour that I'm not. Yeah, I'll be like, you know what? I think I'm going to rest. I think I'm going to walk around town. So you can do that if you want to. I just thought I would explain that. So if anybody has any questions, please, my cell phone is all over everything here. Call me. As I said, I know the basics of these trips, but for specifics, you call me, I'll get the answers and I'll get back to you. And any questions, you can pretty much call me anytime that you want. If I can't answer the phone, I'll get the message. So
there's one additional online, Mike, from Robin and Bill. So
okay.
Is there flexibility on the return with the included airfare? So yes, there is, obviously dependent on availability of seats and such as that. But when you do sign up for the trip, in the notes section, if you want to, in your case, you're saying, can I go to Greece on the return? So you just say, I want to go to Greece, and I want to go to Greece on this date, and I want to fly back on this date. You probably will have to stay on the same routing from you. Well, it's going to be the quickest way from from Istanbul to Athens, and then on the way home from Athens to Istanbul to back to Dulles. So it's possible you'll drop it in there. There's a $150 deviation fee to come out of our group airfare. But and if there is an addition for that leg involved in there, we'll tell you what that price is. Okay.
Yeah, and Ian, let me add to that too. Let all your friends know. Let people know out of state. Let relatives know. Peggy here on the trip, if you see her, she's been on trips with us multiple times. Her sister comes and she's out of Boston, right? And they work out a deal for her where she flies from like Logan and meets us over there somewhere. I mean, I never quite know, is she meeting us at the first spot? Now, Ian, I know you can't commit an air because it's a long way down the road, but historically, is a trip from Dulles to Istanbul normally a direct flight, or might there be a stopover that we do?
Yeah, I mean, right now we have a few airlines that are reserved, but we have a non-stop as part of that involved in the program.
Okay.
The airlines, and in jest, I always say the pilots don't know where they're flying tomorrow. Never mind.
Yeah, it's true.
Next year. So those finalized plans come a little bit further down the line, but our intent is a non-stop.
Okay. God, there was something else. Oh, and for anybody wondering, what I normally do for every trip, we have a member of ours who has a like limo outfit, and I'll make arrangements with them. Like, for example, for the trip we're doing to Croatia, I've made arrangements with the people at Carroll Community College where you can park your car in their lot. It's nice and safe. We've done this multiple times, and you can get like a bus ride, and they're nice buses from here to the airport. And we're not going to BWI, so driving to Washington is something that it's worth doing. And they're going to charge, and the tips included, it's $178 per person. And I think that's the same price they gave me for Turkey, because I asked them for both.
But it's gone up.
It's gone up a little bit. Everything's gone up. Gas has gone up. Yeah, but 178 is still a pretty reasonable price per body to not have to drive on the roads to Washington. And that'll all be, that's a separate thing that you handle with them. And that comes, like, I haven't even sent the information out for the people that are traveling with me on this one in October, but I've arranged the actual price. So, all right.
Yeah.
So I guess we're good. I'd love to see everybody here sign up.
Yeah. And again, we look forward to having you travel with us, and take care.
Teresa, we need to get you back with us. And Leslie, Robin, Bill, Judy, all of you guys, anybody else who might be out there, if you have any questions, please give me a call. Thank you. Now I need to end this thing because I've got it recorded. I'm just gonna, well, actually, you know what? Let's wait here until, oh, okay, I can stop the recording right